Well, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be back. George Morgan here at your service. It's PSGL, it's Wednesday night, it's Spain tonight as well. Lots on the table, lots of battling. The title contest is still alive and kicking. And Jack, it's only taken us 10 rounds. We're on the 11th. It's all to play for.
Boromant goes on the inside and takes the lead on the final lap of the race. Now it's side by side between Boromant and Bonnar, but Boromant's got the inside.
A guest star here in this phenomenal race. Cameron Dowd looking to take P2 in his very first PSGL F1 PC race. Incredible to say the least. You see there, Putin still leads. 1.5 seconds. DRS is the name.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to PSGL F3 for round 7. And of course, we're travelling over to the beautiful Algarve in Portugal for the Portimao Grand Prix. I am here, joined once again by the one who won't leave me alone. Of course, it's Alex Heron. Alex, how are you doing?
A lot better than I was last week, because I was very tired last week.
Yeah, we saw.
I'm not tired anymore. So we're here for Portugal. I love Portugal. Should be back on the calendar, in my opinion. It won't be, because they don't pay enough money for it. But it's here on PSGL's calendar, and that's what matters the most.
Yes,
because we're here to commentate PSGL.
Yes, not actual F1. Because otherwise,
no.
You'd all end up bored. Come on.
We'd be very biased.
Come on. Exactly. So
because commentary's not biased at all, is it?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
None. Zero. Not an ounce. But of course, no, we do have a fantastic race lined up here today. It's looking to be, somewhat of a long one. 33 laps around Portimao. It's not exactly the shortest circuit, but it can offer a varying amount of challenges, given the undulation of the track as well. A lot of the corners are blind apexes. Hopefully, we'll be in for an absolute barnstormer of a race. But of course, it's not the only race we've had so far in this season. If we look over to the calendar, we can see we've already had the likes of Austria, Belgium, Monaco, Austria, Canada, France, and now we're at round 7 at Portugal. With, of course, Baku next week, Zandvoort the week after, then Brazil and Texas as well. It's all heating up very, very quickly in this season so far, isn't it, Alex?
Certainly is. We've had quite the season already. F3 has been a roller coaster ride for all of us. As someone said, life is a roller coaster. I don't know who sung that one.
Lightning McQueen?
Yeah, that's what he ka-chow. Ka-chow. But yeah, so we've got, what is this? This is round 7, as you said.
Yeah.
Going to round 11. So we'll be ending just before, well, just around mid-April.
Yes.
So
absolutely. I mean, we look at the standings here as well. Daniel Prodi,
close.
Still out of the lead, but it's not by much at all. We had conjoined points last week as well between 2, 3, 4 different drivers, all for respective parts of the leaderboard. But Prodi, Roche, they're looking up there. But then you've got the likes of Adler, only 4 points back, and then 4 points off the back of Adler is Morena. Benzoni, again, they're all still up there. For me, realistically, it's a battle between the top 7. And that is something which, you can't go into other broadcasts and expect to see every single week. But here at PSGL, you absolutely can, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. When was the last time, Josh, you saw a 7-way world title fight?
Bahrain this year.
That's true.
Yeah. It was actually a 20-way. It's actually really exciting.
Yeah, because anyone could still win it at that point.
Anyone.
Technically, anyone still can.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
You're very much not wrong, but I don't feel like you're exactly right with that being said either.
No.
See, now,
Somehow.
normally, this is a part of a broadcast where we'd go, well, okay, let's have a look who's been a naughty boy, right? Let's have a look at which drivers have got steward warnings, been told off, got given time penalties, but everyone was really well behaved. In fact, everyone was so well behaved, they even had a time penalty removed for an unfair warning they ended up getting granted. So, everyone's been so well behaved, it really just goes to show the reason why F3 is the best. I see Nathan Richards in the chat. He won't be happy I've just said that, but I've said it. Fight me on it, Nathan. What you gotta do? But no, we do have all these drivers now rolling out on track, and if you're not familiar with Portimao, here is the circuit. You can see it looks very, very complex. It looks almost a bit like a Qatar circuit, one made for maybe MotoGP, for example. Maybe. Just maybe.
Maybe it was designed for that circuit in particular.
Maybe
but they did do a lot of testing here. They did test some cars here. They do a lot of. I remember they were talking about during the summer break that Max had drove some, what was it? Can't remember.
Cars?
Some cars around here. Yeah,
Yeah.
cars.
I mean, from my knowledge...
GT cars. That's what it is. That's
yeah,
the word I was thinking of.
Very much popular with the Lamborghinis.
The Lamborghinis.
The Super Trofeo. Sort of running that they can do. It's
As a Ferrari fan, does Lamborghini annoy you?
no, because they don't design cars to go racing.
No, they're designed to do Knightsbridge at 3 a.m, as Jeremy Clarkson once said.
Yes. Sure, let's start quoting Jeremy Clarkson. That won't get us in trouble anytime soon.
No,
But
it's a Devlin quote. You could,
it's
that's not my name. It's an Alex quote.
it is a Devlin quote.
I'm too deep in my own web of lies.
Looking to put some links together around this circuit would be Bogdan Moldovan. Now we know the ET8 driver very, very quick on his day. But will it be his day today? I feel like it's only going to be a matter of time until we get to see the hints of whether Bogdan's going to be able to fly himself around his Portimao circuit and really sort of extract the maximum out of his AlphaTauri car.
Yeah, and it's not one of those easy circuits here, Josh, is it? Because the wind's against you, the track conditions are against you as well, because it's a very slippery circuit, and you've got to make sure you keep it on the road at all times. Bogdan at the moment doing quite well for that first sector. And Josh, how easy is it to invalidate around this circuit?
Oh,
it's incredibly easily.
Especially up here through turn 7 and turns 8. You've got to see approaching up to Samsung there. You've got to go so late on the apex to try and run it as far wide as possible. But if you go even half a wheel over that white line on the left-hand side, your lap time is invalidated. But we will see here, up towards Portimao, getting that car rotated in, beautifully done, but you notice doesn't run out to the right. It wants to keep that nice shallow line, minimising the distance to the track, flicking it back over to the left-hand side here, having a little wayward moment there. Carry on my wayward son. Right, okay, we're not allowed to do that, but we do have Bogdan approaching here, turn 15. Part of my personal frustrations around this circuit is that corner. For some reason, I never seem to be able to get the power down. Alex, how was Bogdan able to do that?
Well, Josh, it's all about having trust in the car.
I really thought you was about to say skill.
No, I'm not. I'm not being mean today. I've turned a new leaf, because of course, Ferrari proved me wrong and won a race, so I can't be mean anymore.
Exactly, and we could be seeing another Ferrari win a race here today. With Tony Roche, return of form recently for this young man for TF10 has been it's been magnitudinal. It's been fantastic.
Magnitudinal, is that a word?
That is now a word.
It's in the English dictionary.
Don't make me Google it.
To be fair, isekai is now in the English dictionary.
Who?
Isekai.
Definition?
It's an anime term of a fantasy world.
Can you use it in a sentence?
This is an isekai world.
Oh, thank you. That's made it so much clearer to me. But no, just in case any of you are unfamiliar with Formula 3 here in PSGL, we're more than happy to talk with you lot in chat, have a little bit of a communication, have a little bit of banter, because of course, there's only a set amount of time we get to interact with you lot directly through a stream. Rest of it has to be done through our Discord. I mean, you know where the Discord is. It's in the description. You should have joined it already. If not, what are you doing? Scroll down, join it, come get yourself involved over at PSGL. There's many different leagues for you to race in, and of course, at the end of the day, there's many different people to communicate with, all throughout, whatever you want. Whether it's just general motorsports, whether it's Formula 1, maybe it might even be some Super Trofeo in the Lamborghinis, but then again, I feel like they're very hard to come by.
They are. They are very hard to come by. But something that's not hard to come by is Tony Roche's lap time, because he's about to kick it off here, Josh, going through that first sector, and he's already invalidated, which means the commentator's curse has already kicked off, and I've cursed the first person.
Yeah, Oscar seems very confused. Lamborghini doesn't make racing cars. Yep, that's their stance on really trying to fund factory teams, as you can tell. More than happy to go back on their words, Oscar, because, believe it or not, there are Lamborghini racing cars. Who'd have thought a company going back on their words would have been something we might have seen here in the world of motorsport in the 21st century?
In the world at all. Companies never go back on their word.
No, absolutely not. I mean,
I've never met a company that's lied to me.
To be fair, there's been a handful of companies which I don't think have ever lied.
Can you name them now?
Yes. SRC, they make great setups.
That's
not
true.
a lie, right? GT Omega making some of the best sim racing equipment you can put your bottom into. Again, not a lie. Me and Alex living proof of that. Our lap times, that's detriment to our skill level and how bad we are. But the equipment, best bar none. And of course, PSGL, we're here every single week to give you some brilliant entertainment. Of course, PSF1? No, PCF1 isn't happening on a Wednesday anymore, but you've still got us for the Thursdays, of course. We're here in F3 in, 50 minutes time? You'll have an F5 stream up, an F4 stream up with Omi and Myth doing, yet again, God's work down there. Brilliant championship battle happening. Lots of very close racing all throughout the field. And then, of course, you got F2 with Ben Sapsford and Nathan Richards leading the way on that one. Again, more fantastic racing to keep you company throughout the Thursday, because we know how long of a stretch it can be waiting for that race weekend to come round. But we're here. We're just here to ease the burden. Just a little bit. It's not quite the same thing, but it can be. You've just got to let your mind wander.
Yes. Those are very good words, Josh.
Thank you. Believe it or not, you know, words are a thing.
Words are a thing.
There you go.
Now, Josh, unsurprisingly, once again, we talked about the top of the timesheets. McLaren and Williams, once again, at the top of the timesheets. This is what it was like in France, Josh, and it all fell apart for McLaren right at the end of qualifying. Are we going to see a similar fate here happen for JST and Riccardo Benzoni?
No, absolutely not. Right, they would have learned, they would have understood exactly what went wrong last week. Of course, it was a slightly different scenario. Of course, we had both of them being SRC drivers, being engineered. JST, Riccardo Benzoni, don't go for the same outfit. JST's towards PD, and then, of course, Benzoni's towards SRC. But, again, they would have learned. They would have picked up on what happened last week in the qualifying, why it went wrong, why they ended up making a couple of mistakes here and there, correct it, and take the, a slightly more effective approach throughout this qualifying session, because again, it's a very different circuit to Paul Ricard. You can't exactly trust that you're going to get a guaranteed lap in with the amount of blind apexes. If a person doesn't have an engineer, it can be very difficult for them to be able to kind of spot what's happening behind them and make a very quick decision, as we might see in Alfa Romeo here. No, beautiful work to get out of the way there from the Alfa Romeo, but yeah, it can certainly be something that we're going to have to keep a very, very close eye on throughout the rest of this race.
Yeah, and as we learned a few weeks ago, or a week ago in real life Formula 1, engineers are huge important of telling people when to get out of the way. Or when to say there is a thing in the way. As Sixten Lindhart has gone a bit wayward and has invalidated his lap time, currently sitting in 5th place. It's been a few difficult races for Mr. Lindhart, hasn't it? It's not been, arguably, his greatest season here. But, currently sitting in P6. Matthew Adler's just improved to go P5. Yeah, he's still in it for sure. But as we say every week, Josh, we're like a broken record, us two. It's very close, very close.
It's very close. I'll tell you what. I'll even swap it over so you can see the actual intervals between all the drivers. Realistically, we're seeing most of them being separated by 2 tenths of a second. Simon Violo to 0.23, and then Andreas Franco slightly further down, being behind by 3 tenths. But you can expect those drivers to keep increasing their pace throughout this session. Driver I want to keep an eye on, Sauber driver Valentino Labella. Not had the greatest form as of yet, but has always shown they've got the pace, they've got the consistency to be up there. But it just comes down to those detrimental moments in the race where mistakes can happen.
Did we just have a look at Mr. Simone's lap?
Yeah.
Puts it 2nd fastest.
Flying
only a few thousandths off of JST, who very much needs a pole position this afternoon. Riccardo Benzoni, I would arguably say needs it more. Because, again, every weekend we say it's his race to really pull it off and bring one out the bag. And he always does, and then it just falls away from him. Because what was it, in France, he didn't really have the pace in the wet anyway. And obviously then McLaren messed up the strategy as well. It didn't help that at all. But here, Riccardo Benzoni, quickly, just to ride on board with him, he's almost 2 tenths up in the first sector. Just going through the roller coaster section, as Martin Brundle described it, and now going into the very tricky right-hander. So easy to invalidate here, Josh, but you need to get a wide line into the corner to get a good exit out of it. He's another 2 tenths up, Josh. Could be a really good lap here.
Yeah, a lot of this circuit, especially in Sector 2, is about flowing the car around to make sure you're setting up properly for any sort of straightaway. Especially coming through turn 14 here, where you want to try and get on the power as soon as possible to be able to straighten the car up to get the best possible run all the way towards the line. Keep it over to the right-hand side to minimise the time towards the line, but Riccardo Benzoni is more than happy to leave a little bit more on the table there.
Oh.
Ends up hopping up into P4. Now, with 6 minutes left in the session, we could expect these drivers to go back into the pits, get a fresh set of soft tyres on, come back out again. This is a part where we're gonna ask you, chat. I can already see one prediction, which was made a little bit earlier from Pag, saying Daniele's pole incoming. So, who do we think has the potential to go and nab themselves a cheeky pole position here?
Could be anyone.
Right, it could be Timo Slenkovic. Fastest purple sector, up into P6. Still in it.
Still in it for sure. I just want to mention, just where did Benzoni lose all that time? Because he was a 10th up in the first sector, he was 2/10 up in the middle sector, and he only found, well, he found almost less than a 10th going through the final sector. Is it ERS usage? Like, I know this circuit is quite deadly on ERS. I was going to mention it when we get into the race, but...
I mean, even in qualifying, right? I mean, you're burning the ERS before you even cross the line. You've got to find a place to sort of harvest it. So when you come out of turn 15, you can still use the battery. You can still deploy to really try and get yourself a better lap time than those who are going to be, you know, kind of towards the more harvesty end of it. But someone I want to keep an eye on here, Nando Moreira, of course, had that brilliant run slightly earlier in the season. But again, as of recent, not quite being comfortable with the car. Something's not being right, whether it's been set up, whether it's been strategy. Not being able to execute the maximum amount of points they would necessarily want. And that's been a common theme throughout here. Definitely an overall lack of consistency in race trim for all the drivers. But he's looking to make an end to that today.
And consistency, Josh, in Formula 1 is key. Next to a fast car.
I thought it was next to a working car.
The working car does help as well, yeah. You know, you can't be consistent if your car breaks down every 2 seconds. Ask Charles Leclerc. As we head down the main straight, as Nando Moreira goes 5th fastest there, found almost a 2/10 improvement, jumped himself up into the top 5.
Yeah, I mean, brilliant stuff from him. But no, to bring you back to that part, you know, these drivers, they're all blessed with the gift of a brand new power engine. They don't need to worry about mechanical DNFs in this year's game. It could be something looking at next year's game, which might not happen. They might end up having to, you know, save up a couple parts here and there. Again, that's completely down to sort of the league rules and how it's all run around there. But certainly one thing's for sure, we won't see any mechanical failures on the formation lap to do with brakes overheating and, well, getting themselves stuck.
Got another prediction in chat there, Josh.
Oh dear. OP Benza for pole. Certainly a very bold choice, but we've seen Benzoni be able to pull off works of art before. Is Portimao just going to be one of another one of Benza's canvases, let's say, to paint his illustrious work on, to really try and find any sort of manner to improve himself in the championship and get him slightly further up the timing sheets, because we all know how hungry he is to get this F3 title. You know, he's moved over from console over to PC. He's hungry for a PC title. He wants one. He needs one. And I don't think he'll stop until he gets one.
No, and we all want a PC title, that's for sure. I mean, me and Josh haven't got a chance of getting an F3 title, that's for sure.
No.
You know, Josh could maybe get an F8 title.
No.
F10?
No.
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 On controller though, you clearly get F1. I mean, you're goated on controller.
Oh yeah, I'm basically the same pace as Dylan Warren on a controller. Of course, I mean he would never admit to that because then again he's so humble, he doesn't want to boast to be in the same pace as me.
Well, exactly.
I mean,
it's only fair.
It really is. I mean, we got Nathan Richards saying JS stay for pole. Again, we know Nathan has no wheel knowledge when it comes to these drivers, so I'm gonna brush that one off. But
yeah,
all seriousness, Jay, within contention here.
He's in contention every weekend, and then something seems to go wrong for him. Like, what was it last weekend? He had wet tyres on, or was it dries? Didn't he put dries on or something?
Yeah.
He
just got a bit confusion.
A bit confusion.
He got a bit of confusion. It's like in Pokemon, where you end
20
up
drivers out of the pit lane.
Yes.
Every single one is out. Last driver on the grid is Thomas Laminen at the moment, but I imagine that's going to change around.
Right.
2 minutes 14 left in the session, Josh. They've all gone out a bit earlier than you'd expect, so they might get a second lap in, especially the guys towards the front of the grid, if they've got enough fuel for that, of course.
Yes. I mean, realistically, I feel like this should be a part of the stream where we end up playing a little bit of bingo with chat. Who do you think, out of all these drivers in this little squadron we've got going on here, is going to pick up a 5-second time penalty for illegal blocking? If you said Timo Zelenkovic, congratulations, you've won yourself a firm handshake.
Yes, you don't get anything else.
No, can't afford anything else. We don't have a budget.
No,
for
can't afford anything else. Now, of course, if JST does get pole position, Nathan Richards has promised to give £50,000 to a charity of anyone's choice in chat.
Yes, and he'll also narrate the entire Formula 1 fact book, which I'm sure we'll have a hot break to after this qualifying session to keep you guys entertained and find out a little bit more about the mechanical world of Formula 1. Some of the facts are absolutely mind-boggling. Certainly so. Ivan Santamaria, mind-boggling in that first sector, gaining a 10th. Has a little bit more time to find, but we know Ivan Santamaria would have left a little bit more on the table than just that first sector.
Yeah, the first sector isn't arguably the most important one on this track. Of course, it's basically just a few corners and a straight. And now this is the point where you need to improve. The middle sector, flicking it into the right-hander here. You want to get as much time as you can by going a bit wide and then cutting it back into the inside. Hit the middle sector, 3/10 up in the middle sector. Looking good so far for Ivan Santamaria. And he's got a few corners left to go. There's people still waiting to begin their lap times with 30 seconds on the clock. The last one to cross the line will be one of the McLarens. I believe that's Riccardo Benzoni, who will be the last one to cross the line. But the first one to cross the line will be Ivan Santamaria. No ERS left, no fuel left. What is that lap time going to be? Only 18th fastest, but really, that's quite the improvement because that was 4/10 improvement.
Yeah, it's not exactly the sort of pace we're used to seeing. As we see Alexander Dimas with the pace we're used to seeing from Dimas there, jumping it up towards the top of the timing sheets with a 1:15.2. We can expect the track evolution here to ramp up even more during these final couple laps. We see JSA running it a little bit wide, invalidating the lap time. That's catastrophe there for the McLaren driver, proving once again Nathan's commentator curse is stronger than any of ours combined. Simon Viola rises up here towards the line, and he's able to jump himself up into P2, pushing JSA down slightly further. How many more drivers have we got yet to come across the line? We've got an awful lot, don't we? All of them somewhat fighting. Modesto Mena not even able to get a lap time on the board. Catastrophe there for the Haas driver. We've got Matthew Adler here challenging that middle sector, but again, another invalidated lap time. We've got so many of these drivers who can't seem to find it perfectly on the circuit. Tomasz Lamanen here coming up towards the line at 15.3. We've got another Ferrari. Where's Roche putting it?
He's 16th. Only 16th fastest. Riccardo Benzoni is on a quick lap here, Josh. He needs to do it for McLaren now because JST once again falling down the order, down to 7th now. It's a Williams 1-2 as it stands. Riccardo Benzoni is the only one that can deny them. He's going to cross the line now. Can he take pole position? He does it on his last lap. He's found a 10th of a second. And for the first time in a long time, we can say Riccardo Benzoni is on pole position.
Oh, it feels like a long time coming, doesn't it? It really, really does. But you got to give it where it's due. Riccardo Benzoni getting that lap in right at the end of qualifying to nab himself a pole position. Fantastic work from him. I'm sure the SRC outfit are going to be very, very happy. And certainly look forward to potentially trying to hold on to that lead heading down into Turn 1. Primera. It's going to be a very tough run heading down, but as soon as you got that inside line, you'd surely think you'll be safe. Heading through 2, and then, of course, Turn 3, that sharp hairpin, almost a full U-turn, so to say, a complete hairpin at Lagos before raising back up the hill at Turn 4. But they've got a little way to think about there, and of course, we do have a lobby restart where everyone can kind of clock themselves back in, understand what they've got to do, and really mentally reset for the challenge of tackling this race, because, again, it is a long one. 33 laps around here. It's constant thought process. You don't have that time to switch off, turn your brain off, and relax anywhere because you're focusing so hard on hitting the apexes, finding the braking zones, making sure you don't overstep the boundaries and pick up a warning or a time penalty. All of it really adds together around the circuit.
Yep. 100%, Josh. It's going to be a long one, but I'm going to take you through your grid order quickly. Riccardo Benzoni on pole position from Alexander Dimas by 57 thousandths of a second. And then Daniel Parodi. Simeon Viola putting in a great performance in 4th. Then Zelenkovic, Linhart, Amanda Morena. JST falling down to 8th on that last lap. Then we've got Race, we've got Lamanen, Rosenberg, Adler, Javier, Valentina, Andreas, Tony Roche, Bogdan, Ivan Santamaria, Tom Roberts, and Modesto Mena round out your top 20. I am very happy I said all those names. But Josh, as you said, these guys can't relax right now because they've got a race. But if our viewers at home wanted to relax, what could they possibly relax in?
That's a really good question. I mean, personally for me, you know, I quite like to relax in my bed. Unfortunately, that's not a proper ad segue for us. But what is going to be our fantastic, lovely little deal we've got with GT Omega, of course, making brilliant chairs left, right, and centre. Not only the chairs as well, sim racing equipment. If you want to stand, certainly a good place to go and have a look for some is at GT Omega. We might even have a cheeky little discount code if you're so observant in that description to really go and see if there's anything which tickles your fancy. Get yourself a cheeky discount as well and show your support to PSGL. We appreciate it very much. Oh, hold on, what's that? What's that? Alex?
Yeah?
I've just heard something.
What'd you hear?
I've heard we've got a new range of chairs. Might be worth having a look at the website. And we are back. Oh, brilliant stuff, brilliant stuff. Of course, if you're interested in finding any sort of advantage on track against a couple of your competitors, it might be worth, you know, having a little bit of an opportunity to maybe go and have a look at a couple of their setups. They've got brilliant plans for the strategy as well, trying to adapt yourself into those race scenarios and really work with you and their engineering team to try and get anything sorted. I mean, realistically, it's absolutely fantastic. So, ooh. Okay, apparently we could be in for a little bit of wet weather running. Apparently, according to Aljat, one of our beautiful, coordinators here at PSGL, has been told, we're allowed to get a little bit of wet weather strategy talking. We're allowed to have a little chinwag about that. But Alex, there's something a little bit more pressing than, race strategy for these drivers. Race strategy is good. Focusing on what's happening, again, another solid sort of object to really go for. But there are a couple more pressing things than just dealing with a bit of race strategy.
There is, Josh.
Yes.
There is.
Do you wanna elaborate a little more for those at home who may not be aware? I see Oscar here. Oscar looks very confused in chat. That's all I'm saying.
I've got it.
He's got it. The book. The Holy Grail of Formula 1 knowledge.
300 great Grand Prix facts for motorsport fans.
They are great.
They are grand. I'm going to read you.
Oh, here we go.
A grand motorsport facts.
Prepare yourselves. Strap in.
Alright, everyone ready? No. This is actually quite relevant to what's going on right now in our PSGL. Okay. Alright. So on the track, the McLaren and Williams teams dominated the 1980s and 1990s.
Have we gone in a time machine?
I think we might have done.
I think we might have done.
I think we might have done. That's actually that might be the most relevant fact I've ever read out.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame there's not one about Italian drivers and the last one to win one, because it would certainly say Daniele Prodi, because Giancarlo Fisichella's got absolutely nothing on Prodi.
Right, Josh, how many different nationalities have raced the Formula 1 circuit?
Just any circuit? A specific circuit?
It just says the Formula 1 circuit.
Chat, let's have a gander. How many nationalities have competed in Formula 1? Does this include nationalities which no longer exist?
Very possibly.
Okay.
This is of 2022. So okay. April 2nd, 2022. This is what.
I mean, Alex Albon would have been the only new one. He's the first Thai driver. Oh, wait, no, Zhou Guanyu. Okay.
First Chinese driver.
I want to say it's going to be more than 7.
It's definitely more than 7, Josh.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's go for 47. 47.
Right, Josh is going with 47. We got any
Any
advances
guesses?
on 47?
Any guesses?
Any guesses on 47?
We got
So,
39 people currently watching. 41, Carlson.
Carlson on 41. Give a couple more seconds because we are slightly behind on the
Yes.
stream.
That's okay.
There's a small delay, but it's fine. It allows us to do things
It's fine.
like this.
Yes.
So I'm going to reveal now
Okay.
the amount of nationality that have raced in Formula 1
53 from Oscar.
is 41.
Right, Carlson
Different
googled it.
nationalities.
Not having that.
I think Carlson googled it.
Not having that. No.
Now, of course, being this book, it doesn't actually list the nationalities that have raced in Formula 1. It just tells you there's 41.
Okay.
Would you like to know, right, Josh?
Right, here
This
we
is
go.
a section I haven't. This is a section I haven't read out.
Oh
by the way.
no.
this
New
is-
content.
Formula functions of buttons on the steering wheel. This is a Formula 1 steering wheel.
Okay.
So I can tell you what all the different buttons do on a Formula 1
Right,
steering wheel.
okay. Is it worth me expanding your camera so everyone can have a good view of this?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys can see.
Is it worth?
um,
Right, okay. Chat, hold on. There we go. We're making him a little bigger.
This is the Formula 1.
That is a Formula 1 steering wheel right there for you.
Yeah, that.
See that
This is a
perfectly
modern day.
circular... Hold on, we're zooming in a bit more, Alex. See
Yeah.
that completely perfect circular wheel? That is a Formula 1 wheel.
You know, I think it's very accurate to the modern day Formula 1 wheel. To be honest with you.
I'm not entirely sure about that one. I'm really not.
Sure, you're not.
Right,
you sure?
there you go. Everyone's seeing the backdrop here getting absolutely torn to shreds.
Yeah, the backdrop is sorry everyone. That's just the way it is.
Dear.
But yeah, do you want me to read you what some of the buttons do while you fix the
Yeah, sure, go for it.
thing?
Why not? Why not?
So, the PREL in brackets preload rotary switch.
Oh, does that
It controls
start the engine?
it controls the preload differential offset torque.
So it starts the engine.
What about the red oil button? What do you reckon the red oil button does?
I reckon it dumps out a patch of oil behind you to try and make the car behind you spin like a Mario Kart.
Close. Transfers oil from the auxiliary tank to the main tank.
Does it give any more elaboration on what those tanks do?
No.
So it's right, just so everyone knows, this book also has, you know, a brilliant wealth of knowledge about helmets being the most pivotal part of safety equipment in Formula 1, and also that Formula 1 cars are open wheel. And then it just talks about, honestly,
This is the best one.
okay.
What does the white ACK in brackets acknowledge button do?
Reports back to the team saying that you understood.
Acknowledges changes in the system.
Load of absolute raucous, but something which, you know, could potentially be a little bit of fun here today would be, you know, a little weather tampering. Does look very sunny at the minute, but there is predicted rain coming towards this Grand Prix, so keep an eye out for it. It could definitely throw some spanners in the works. Very similar to our beautiful transition here over on the right-hand side. Everyone keep your eye out for it. Boom. There you go. GT Omega. You'd love to see it. Shameless plug? Absolutely. Are we definitely trying to cover up the DHL and Aramco logos? You bet you. We are.
Yeah, because we didn't have time to do the things.
No, that was not a thing for this thing. But certainly is a thing. Is racing.
The things. Yeah.
Thing.
We're about to go lights out for this thing.
Yeah. So far, Lights Out has consisted of carnage, right? As soon as that goes, everyone's racing, full blown. Could we see a bit more of a strategic approach from these drivers? Maybe saving a bit more ERS, very much like the Austria race we had.
I think so. I think they're all going to go nicely into turn one by one.
So, chat, if you've not had a chance to grab yourself a drink, grab yourself snacks.
Do it now.
Do it now, run. Don't do it now.
You haven't got time now. You haven't got time because we have got 4 5 red lights for Portugal, and we're already underway as Riccardo Benzoni gets off the line well, and Alexander Dimas has had a horrendous start there as he's already got Simone Viola up his inside as they race into turn 1. They already bang wheels, and the Sauber driver is going to go around the outside of the Williams. He's going to push him a bit wide, and he's taken third place. Horrible start from Alexander Dimas as Zelenkovic is already on the charge as well. So is JST as he moves his way up through the field. He's going to go around the outside of 16. Linhart breaks later. Oh, a little bit of clashing there between Linhart and JST, but a perfect start from Riccardo Benzoni. He needed a clean start this weekend, Josh, but he's on the soft tyre, and we've got to have a look on the tyres here. 2 soft tyres for our leaders, and then everyone behind is on mediums, apart from Linhart and JST, who are also on the softs.
Yeah, and you've got to consider that start that Dimas had off the line probably was down to him being on that medium compounded tyre, sacrificing that initial getaway for that harder rubber. But you would surely assume from that, he started to fall down the order more, even to the likes of Simeon Violo, Timo Zelenkovic, who are also on that medium compounded tyre. Might not have been the best opportunity to really go for it, getting forced off the line, picking up marbles on your tyre. That could be the reason why we're seeing Dimas fall down the order more and more, but we've got some brilliant battles happening further throughout the field. One of them being Tony Roche dancing it around the outside of turn 14. Fantastic stuff there from Roche, but he's got a lot of work ahead of him if he's looking to catch up to his championship rivals, currently sitting in P1 and P2 respectively. And it wouldn't surprise me if these two, start using each other's DRS, battery, and really trying to work together to pull away from the likes of Simeon Violo and Timo Zelenkovic on the hard compound tyre.
And Josh, you may have heard this one before, but you're not in DRS in this year's game. You're not going anywhere. And DRS is going to get enabled in the next lap, and it's genuinely probably the most important circuit for DRS usage.
Absolutely. I mean, it doesn't go without saying. Look at the minimap. Look at the straight. It's imperative you get the DRS. You're gaining 0.6 of a second per lap just by sitting in it down that main straight, let alone the little short burst you get after rising up out of the hill at turn 4, heading down into Torre at turn 5. There's so many opportunities for these drivers to really be able to maximise, their strategy, their workload, their tyres, really try and, edge them out just that little bit longer than the rest of them. If they have that opportunity to lift and coast heading down into turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, and then turn 5 as well. Just taking a little bit of life into the tyres, breathing, giving it a little resuscitation, a little CPR, getting them just those extra couple of laps could make all the difference for a potential overcut strategy here.
And Daniel Prodi takes the lead of the Portuguese Grand Prix ahead of his McLaren rival, and already down the back straight, maybe a little bit of ERS usage there. But Josh, you can tell how bad ERS is around here when you've got 2 very professional drivers up front who will know how to hold on to their ERS. Both under 50% battery on the 3rd lap of this Grand Prix.
Yeah, it's so powerful. And you'll have a key note here, everyone. Pay attention. Simeon Violo was able to hold on to the back of this soft compound tyre.
He needs to.
Exactly.
It's very important.
Jonah Martins has correctly put it in chat, and I completely agree with what Jonah's put. Mediums will win if they are able to keep within the DRS. And so far, Simone Violo and Timo Zelenkovic are certainly doing that. It's just how much longer are they going to be able to hold on? You would think now they've got the DRS, now those front have kind of burnt a lot of their battery trying to break away, they're going to be in a position of jeopardy in comparison to these medium compound runners. Surely the mediums have got the, the controlling upper hand early on in this race.
They do, certainly. The interesting choice, Joshua, we didn't actually mention it earlier on because we were paying attention to this front battle. We've actually got one outlier who's on a completely different strategy. Andreas Frank on hard tyres.
Yeah, it's...
right at the back of the grid. And that is probably the most interesting strategy of them all.
Yeah, I mean, surely, you would hope for Andreas' sake here, being able to hold on to the back with a little bit of DRS, a little bit of help there, could certainly try and, catch him up a little bit. As once again, I'm seeing Jarno Otmir being questioned in the chat. I'm going to assume that's asking why isn't Otmir racing? It's not F1, it's F3. I'm sorry, I think Monsters.
We don't want Jarno to be embarrassed.
No, these drivers run circles around him every day of the week.
I'd run circles around him. I wouldn't. Jarno, please don't hurt me.
No, but we are starting to see a couple of these battles breaking out, and a lot of it is down towards the lower end of the grid, where we're starting to see drivers maybe panic on that soft compound tyre. Tom Roberts being very brave, trying to hold it around the outside through the double right-hander. brilliant work to try and hold it on the outside. Brilliant trust in Bogdan Moldovan to not turn it across him and, you know, force him off the track. Fantastic stuff there. Getting himself a position on that soft compounded tyre, which is exactly what he needs to do. But you will have to consider, those mediums, they will just last longer. They are the better race tyre in comparison to the soft, so Tom really needs to make those moves as soon as possible to be able to dive it back in the pits, get a fresh set of tyres on, and really try and get his head down to crack on with this race, because as things stand, he's kind of going to be in the middle of nowhere when it comes to that first pit stop window.
Yeah, he certainly is, as we are now already on lap 5, Josh, flying through this Portuguese Grand Prix, as I kind of expected, to be honest with you, because it's really not that long of a circuit. These are, of course, these ground effect cars. I'd love to see the ground effect cars race around here. I genuinely would. What was the last race around here? 2021?
Yep.
Was it? Yep. Of course, won by Sir Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes.
Soon to be Ferrari driver.
Soon to be Ferrari driver, replacing the one-time world champion Carlos Sainz. As
oh yeah, because he's winning this. Yeah, okay.
Soon to be one-time world champion.
Okay,
Carlos Sainz.
Alex isn't stupid. That's just a funny bit we have.
Yeah.
An Epic Monsters. Jana Wotmir's not racing, my friend. Not today. We've got different drivers on board. Drivers equally as capable as Jano. A brilliant, entertaining battles breaking out throughout the entire grid. So feel free to stick around, enjoy the stream. But if you're just here for some Jano content, you've come to the wrong stream today, my friend. But we are seeing a couple of these drivers trying to channel their inner Jana Wotmir by making some very bold moves. Valentino Labella being one of them, with a cheeky move on Tom Roberts there. Fending off Tom Roberts' offences on that soft compound tyre. Brilliant job so far from the Sauber driver, but how much further are they able to carry this forward? Because you notice in here, 7 tenths off the back, it might not be looking too great for them, as we're going to see a move for the lead here. Once again, Benzoni, DRS, easy as you like, but Simon Viola with a very opportunistic move to the inside there. He's still got the car alongside. Parodi's got to give him the space. And on that medium compounded tyre, you see Viola taking a commanding position in this race, jumping and splitting the two soft compound tyre runners. Not only that, but Parodi's being put off his line. Timus Lankovic here is looking for a move here, around the outside of a hairpin. A little wheel banging, a little rubbing his racing, a little wheel locking there. I'm sure the steward's going to have a very close look at that one if Lankovic gets the overtake after that wheel locking to keep him in contention. Going too wide here, and Parodi's got to back off there, and he even loses out another position there to Sixten Lindhart on that soft compound tyre.
And that was all because of Viola, like Simeone's probably very aggressive overtake. But I saw nothing wrong with it personally, Josh. That is exactly, you know, as a wise man once said, he said, that is all about let them race, Michael. That is all about let them race.
Well, certainly someone looking to get racing here is going to be JS Day. He finds himself past Sixten Lindhart here, looking to try and get back and try and battle Daniele Parodi. Parodi's done a fantastic job to retake that position, hold on to P4, but we can't have too many cars squabbling through this section because we all lose time in the long haul. Alexander Dimash on that medium compounded tyre. Slots in lovely. He's going to pick a beautiful little bit of slipstream here, looking to get a move sorted. Simon Violo on that medium compounded tyre takes the battle, you know, takes the lead of the race on that medium compounded tyre, but surely you would consider Benzoni's saving a little bit more battery, waiting for that opportune moment, because we can see these Williams cars here potentially working together to try and box JSD into this awkward scenario where Dimash might be able to get a move sorted.
Got a yellow flag in sector 1 for Ivan Santa Maria. But yeah, I am surprised at Daniel Parodi's drop off there, Josh. I know that obviously Viola put him out of position, and yeah, maybe he battled a bit too hard against Zelenkovic, and obviously lost out to Lindhart as well. But yeah, drop him down a few places, not found the pace again. But do you reckon his tyres are a little cooked? We've got another yellow flag. That's Tom Roberts. Oh, who was doing such a good job there. And now it's fallen down to P18. Had a little spin, maybe a bit of contact. Hopefully he can get back into this race. But yeah, Simeone Violi coming out of nowhere there, leading the Grand Prix. I always say that name wrong. I say it wrong every time. But it's Simone. I'm going to say it like that.
Simeone. Violo.
Simeon from GTA 5.
No, Simeone Violo.
Simeone Viola.
No. Right, we'll discuss that one later because we are seeing a couple moves happening here. JSD getting past Daniel Parodi and Sixten Lindhart also making a move on. I forgot what I was saying there. You completely threw me off with your little GTA comment. Legend Rosenberg, but JSD still showing those soft tyres have got a bit of life in them. It's not the end of a race for them, but they are going to be suffering throughout the remainder of this stint in comparison to the mediums. All of them are going to be looking to try and go as long as they possibly can. As we see a very late move there from Legend Rosenberg, trying to get that move sorted. A little wheel banging, a little rubbing his racing from the Red Bull driver, trying to fend off that position from Sixten Lindhart, but Lindhart looks to be having absolutely none of it, keeping right on the tail of this Red Bull driver. Oh, we've got a big sister versus little sister team here between the AlphaTauri and Red Bull.
Yeah, he was not willing to give that up, was he?
No.
Not willing to give that up at all. As we have two retirements there, Tom Roberts and Ivan Santaria both retiring from the Grand Prix, both deciding that without DRS, they are pretty much out of this Grand Prix, and they are just sitting the rest of this session out. It's down the inside. Was that Rosenberg that went for that? No, that's Reyes. Race going for the move around the outside, and now going to switch it back to the inside. Going to get the better exit now down this final corner. Sticking to the right-hander, holding the foot flat to the floor, and we'll get a nice move up the inside. DRS wide open as Race is going to blast past Lindhart. But Thomas Laminen out of nowhere with a lovely double overtake in the Ferrari, getting past the battling bulls there.
I'm sure Johanna Martins won't be too, abhorrent of the view of the Ferrari getting a double overtake, heading down into turn 1. Brilliant stuff there from Thomas Laminen. Fantastic work to find himself up into P9, but how much further is he going to be able to challenge? We've got Legend Rosenberg slightly further ahead, 7 temps. It looks like a lot. It would be a lot around most other circuits, but given that DRS straight around here, that time will almost dissipate into the ether, as we're seeing Sixten Lindhart looking to try and put Race into a bit of an uncomfortable situation here. Race got that move sorted, but Sixten still showing he's got a little bit of life left when it comes towards the corner exits, especially coming out of turn 5. That seems to be where those soft tyres are really kind of evolving into a world of their own.
Yeah, the softs currently, I imagine, are going to start dropping off soon. Now, I recently, Josh, did a race around Portugal.
Oh dear.
And I did soft medium as a strategy, and it actually worked really well. So I will expect to see these guys do something similar. Of course, they're going to go medium tyres. I don't think the hard's the one to be on. Andreas Franco hasn't really pulled it off in terms of the hard tyres at the moment, especially being outside of DRS range. That does not help. But I reckon we're going to see a couple of pit stops in the next few laps. Riccardo Benzoni, though, you've got to say, has not dropped off the back of our Sauber friend here leading the Grand Prix.
No, and most importantly, he's been able to harvest a little bit more battery. We're looking at his wheel here on the onboard shot. I'm not going to show the exact percentages, but we can see it's around that 80% mark. How much do we think Violo's got left in the tank? Because being up at the front, yes, Benzoni won't necessarily want to overtake. He'll want to harvest a little bit or want to save a bit of fuel here and there, waiting for an opportunity to get an overtake later on in the race. But you got to think, he's going to have to do something to try and offset Violo here. He can't wait behind forever, because when Violo ends up diving into the pits, he'll be on a fresher set of soft compound tyres in comparison to the older mediums for Benzoni. All it'll be is a couple cars in between Violo and the race win, which, you would think with that fresher soft compound tyre, he'd be able to dance his way around.
You would think so, Josh. You would think so. But I've mentioned this. I'm going to mention it again.
Oh dear.
You're not going to have DRS. The undercut is super powerful. It's one of those things where I think I gained 6 seconds on an undercut the other day with
That's
it.
That's impressive for you.
Yeah, it's ridiculous how good the undercut is.
I mean, do we
I
save
think
a line? Do we even save a line?
Do we say a line?
Well,
well, Valentin Labella got a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane and has retired.
It's very much a penalty eats away at the drivers here. It's going to be very, very punishing for all of these drivers trying to get involved after they do receive a penalty. So you've got to give credit where credit's due for Andreas Franco. Still there on that hard compound tyre with a time penalty, not retiring. You do love to see it. Might be out there doing a little bit of R&D testing for themselves, maybe for the SRC outfit, but end of the day, still getting those laps in, still getting that experience, and that's exactly what you want to see with the drivers, a willingness to compete and a willingness to move forward. And it's something we'd love to see in chat as well, a willingness to get involved, getting themselves an opportunity to be part of the stream as much as ourselves. We see a fantastic move there from Alexander Dimas, so late on the brakes in comparison to the soft compound tyres. I think this is where we're going to see this window start opening up for the softs, but we're lap 11 now. We'll open it to chat. I see Maria saying hi in chat, hello, but rest of you in chat, give us predictions. I know we're not even at the first pit stop window, but the way everything's going here, I want to hear predictions for who you think's going to be able to win the race. There's 51 of you in here. Let's see some names in the chat. Because for me, right now, I don't think you can bet against him in Viola. I really don't think you can.
No, I don't think you can either. I was very surprised by his pace, but I was very impressed by his overtaking ability. I mean, that was a very Max Verstappen-esque push off the track to get your position move, and I like that.
Knew what he wanted. Knew he needed to make the move. He
just wanted it more. He just wanted it more. That's what I'd say.
It's the hunger.
The hunger that I like to see.
As you know, oh, okay, right. We will have to keep an eye out because we know the stewards are going to keep an eye out for wheel locking. You could see Parodi having the struggle there of having the car make contact to the side of him, kind of off balancing him. We will have to keep a very close eye out for that because wheel locking around here, especially coming out of the hairpin, can be so important to try and get an overtake. And the drivers will be looking to try and maximise anything possible. We will see a little bit more wheel locking there. Again, sometimes it's inevitable, it's unavoidable, but other times drivers will use it for a sneaky tactical advantage, a little bit of a dark art, as you've coined it, Alex.
Gotta love the dark arts.
I mean, you do unless it's against you.
Well, yeah, of course. You don't like it when it's against you, but when you're doing it yourself, it's one of the best things to do. Yeah, Rosenberg there in front of Daniel Parodi. Parodi was definitely trying to hold him up there for a little bit, but Nanam Rayner now going to go up the inside. Here he goes, and Nanam Rayner. What a race he's having right now. He's doing a great Grand Prix. Modesto Maynard as well, up to 12th, Josh. He was at the back of the grid at the start of this Grand Prix. And I honestly think if this man could qualify a bit better, he could be winning every race. He's very quick.
Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? So it's unfortunate for Modesto Maynard to not always get that, you know, look of the green in qualifying. Obviously, around Portimao, it can be so difficult to even try and get a lap on the board. Lord knows I've tried my absolute best to try and get a quick lap around here, but I can never seem to do it because it's always these complex of corners, 7 and 8, which I always seem to struggle with. I can never really keep the car facing the right direction coming up towards the hill. I always tend to go for a little pirouette on the grass and do a little bit of lawn mowing for the Algarve Council. But end of the day, that's not what we're here for. We're here for some racing, and these drivers certainly showing us how to race around this circuit. Nothing being left on the table so far.
The Algarve Council. It's like the Surrey or Hampshire Council, but just
it's the region of Portugal.
Yeah,
I'm
not saying you're wrong.
I am so sorry. Right, let me just go to the traditional. Oh, it's Portugal suey joke. Right, okay. I'll save him that.
Save the line.
Ruined it. Well,
Suey.
Oh dear. Well, Parodi sueying himself in towards a pit lane to get off that soft compound tyre. Not happy with it. Is this going to be the start of the undercut train we're expecting to see around here? Onto the set of mediums you would expect from this point on. Softs, they've done good. They've done the job. Of course, waiting for that very end pit box. But other drivers going to abandon Parodi. Because we know DRS is prominent around here. You would surely want to try and follow the rest of the field. If no one else wants to dive it into the pits, why would you go to cover off the undercut when you could just stay in the DRS trade? And, you know, minimise the damage being done and still get a potential for an overcut towards the end of a race.
Well, this, Josh, is what I like to call the kind of dark arts.
Oh. It's a lot less ominous.
Yeah, it's not as ominous because, to be honest with you, it's not really dark arts. It's just sensible strategy. Parodi here, he's basically calling everyone's bluff that they will not follow him in the pit lane to cover him off right now. He wants to try and gain as much as he can in his undercar. If Benzoni or JST has to cover him off, arguably it's cover one off.
They're sharing a pit box, so they can't both do it.
Yeah, I think I think JST will have to cover him off. I think Riccardo Benzoni has got to try and stick with Simone. And I'm completely wrong. Clearly, I don't know strategy because Riccardo Benzoni is in the pit lane. But he's the one covering him off.
I'm not sure if you saw that on the onboard camera. JST was moving over to the right-hand side to go into the pits, but as soon as he saw Benzoni was there, he abandoned it, pulled back over to the left-hand side, staying out a lap longer than he would have wanted to.
Well, let's see how powerful this undercut is, Josh, because here comes Riccardo Benzoni. He was a bit ahead of Daniel Parodi, I must say, before the pit stop. So I think Parodi's still going to come out behind him. But Parodi did jump both Tony Richet and Linhart once again in the pits. And he's gained about, I'm going to say, maybe a couple of seconds on Benzoni, because he was quite a few seconds behind him before the pit stops.
Yeah, it certainly looks that way, but you've got to start maybe considering JST. He's been left out in no man's land. He's surely going to fall behind Parodi, and maybe even to the grips of Sixten Linhart and Tony Richet if he's not careful. But they will have to use this time wisely, work together, catch the DRS from one another, and really start trading it efficiently if they want to make a dent to try and catch up and cause these medium compound runners who are going to go over to that soft compound tyre a little bit more stress than they would necessarily like, because so far as it stands, they wouldn't have to do an awful lot of work to try and get themselves back past on that soft compound tyre. We do see JSD diving it into the pits now.
Well, I think you'd be silly not to dive into the pits on this lap, because at the moment he's getting undercut by everyone. I think everyone's going to try and basically get in front of him again. Maybe Andres Franco playing the long game here on those hard tyres. Maybe they're starting to go alive. That safety car could happen. It could certainly happen. Now, Josh, I expect these medium tyre runners to pit around lap 18, lap 20 to get rid of these medium tyres, and that gives them about 13 laps on the soft tyre. Now, it's quite long, but you got to remember fuel has been burned a lot out of these cars. Something we should mention, I haven't really had a look at anyone's obviously wheels, because I don't want to spoil it, because I know there's engineers listening. They're always listening, Josh.
They're always watching.
They're always watching. Fuel burns around here quite quickly because it's a downforce heavy circuit. So it's one of those things where I'm interested to see how much these guys are going to be struggling, especially if people have underfueled expecting safety cars.
And I don't want to call anyone out from the Discord. Of course, it's a safe place, but I'm not saying it's anything to do with the driver I switched onto, but was asking a couple minutes before we ended up jumping into the session what the fuel is that they should be running. Not mentioning names, but it might have something to do with the AlphaTauri in 16th place.
The AlphaTauri in 16th place.
It's certainly going to be interesting seeing what fuel they did decide to go for, because they never got an answer. These drivers very secretive with their strategies.
They don't like telling people stuff.
They don't like sharing stuff. That's what I figured out. No matter how much you try to pry, whether it's in an interview, a private DM, they never like sharing. They're more than happy to keep everything up, tucked up, making sure they understand exactly what's going on with themselves. Not necessarily worrying too much about other drivers and what sort of plans they're running, which again can cause some fantastic racing. We're certainly seeing it here tonight with all these drivers following so closely. We've mentioned these are ground effect cars, but there is still a horrible waft of dirty air following off the back of all of these cars for drivers to follow, which of course overheats the engine, causing you to lose a bit of power, and of course overheat your front tyres.
Yeah, it's very tricky to keep hold of these cars because they're very temperamental these days, even though they've improved a lot.
Hello.
Hello. Oh.
Go on. We're shaking. Modesto Maynard's baking. Mexican wave on the left, please.
Hey, he's done it.
Stuff there from Modesto Maynard.
Zelenkovic takes the lead.
Oh, you just knew it was going to happen when we was messing around. Celebrated an overtake. Modesto Maynard done a brilliant job getting that move. So did Timo Zelenkovic, but you've got to question, will Zelenkovic receive a time penalty for that little bit of wheel rubbing they did with Leishman Rosenberg earlier on in the race? Clearly showing they didn't necessarily need that little bit of wheel banging to keep themselves in that position. They just wanted to get through the field slightly quicker so they could really try and put a bit of a challenge onto the likes of Dimash and Violo up towards the front here in the Sauber car. Certainly going to be interesting as we have got a disconnection there from Andres Franco. It's not a retirement. That is just the game servers going down. Another one of the beautiful features we've got in F123. Hopefully going to be resolved for F124 as we've got our first penalty from the medium compound runners. Javier Domine picking up a 3-second time penalty, balling out of DRS range with Bogdan Moldovan. It's going to be a long day for these lot if they're going to be looking to try and hold on for these mediums any longer.
Yes, I think Simeone has lost a bit of pace here. I think he needs to just make the call to go into the pits, because now you're not in you're in second place now, Josh. You don't really have the option to decide when this pit stop is happening. Let's see what Zelenkovic does. Is he going to box? No, they stay out. They both stay out. They want to go a bit longer. They don't want to be left out in the cold on those soft tyres. Race Bogdan and yeah, Race and Bogdan are in. So, Josh, you're going to see the powerful nature of this undercut here. Riccardo Benzoni just coming around the final corner now, and
just got out his pit box.
Yeah, and we're going to see just how quick the undercut can be. And Daniel Prodi right behind Riccardo Benzoni. Let's keep an eye on this battle, because these two are right now battling for what is basically net race lead, because they will both jump them. But there you go. There is the advantage of the undercut, because Race came out 1.6 seconds behind Tony Richey, and about what is that? Is that 5 seconds behind? 5-6 seconds behind
So 8
Benzoni?
seconds behind Parodi.
Ugh.
Oh my, right. And with all that being said as well, Tony Richey still in contention for a championship battle here. He's P14 on older medium tyres. Why wouldn't he want to hold up the rest of the field? Make them lose a couple extra points. Surely.
He's got nothing to lose. Got nothing to lose where he is. Now, these guys need to pit. These leaders need to pit because they're going to lose more and more time. And they are pitting, or at least Timo Slenkovic and Simeon Viola is. Apart from the only one that didn't pit, Dimas stays out. Matthew Adler, Modesto Mena also staying out. The rest of them going for the pit lane now. Where is this undercut going to put them in front? You remember the lead we had between Riccardo Benzoni and our Sauber friend? Well, that's a completely changed face because I think they're even going to come out behind. Are they going to come out behind Tony Richey?
No,
Oh,
barely.
it's close though. And Tony Richey going to go around the outside. Oh, he's hit Rosenberg in the rear.
Does he have damage?
Coming out the pit lane.
No.
No, he's not. He's got away with damage there. He's got away with damage. But he's battling him, Josh, because he got that extra grip coming out of the first corner. And now it's down to Rosenberg to really jump in front of him. He got DRS down the main straight. He's got to get back in front of Richey. And Richey's not going to battle that one too hard because he knows in his heart of hearts he can't really battle it.
Yeah, but you do have to consider as well, Richey is going to be on about a warmer set of tyres. For soft tyres, only just been put on. They are going to need a little bit of warming up time. And the worst thing you would want to do if you're, the likes of Legend Rosenberg, Simeon Viola, Timo Zelenkovic, is really try and get those tyres heated up as fast as possible because it'll burn through the rubber and overall affect the detrimental performance of the tyres. But we will see Race there looking to try and squeeze his way from Richey. A little rub in his race, a little firm wheel banging as well. These drivers not afraid to put it all on the line here for a battle where they're looking to try and go on and maybe get to themselves a potential top 5 here. But as it stands right now, P12 for Tony Richey. He's lost that top spot. Race, Legend Rosenberg, Simeon Viola, and Timo Zelenkovic all looking to be in an absolutely beautiful position to try and make a challenge for the rest of this race. And you are seeing that soft compound tyre really come into its own now, aren't you? Fresh sets of softs. It's not really a match. It's not a fair battle.
It's not a fair battle at all. Well, it's not a fair battle, Josh, is the fact that somehow those guys who just pitted, who are our leaders, have come out in 13th, 14th, and 15th respectively because of this undercut. And it's left Riccardo Benzoni, Daniel Parodi, and JST battling for first, second, and third, being chased by a soft pack. 3.8 seconds between them.
12 laps to go. Surely, at this point, you want to work together with these guys. You want to go, right, okay, we're all somewhat vulnerable to the soft compound runners. Let's just shake hands. Let's agree. Let's balance it out, right? Okay, we don't all need to burn for our battery. One of us takes a shot, fall back in line with the DRS, another one burns a battery. That would be the ideal world scenario, but we know this is a historic rival which goes back the test of time, doesn't it? McLaren and Williams, not always known for working together.
No, like I said for my fact book, Josh. You know, McLaren and Williams dominated the 1980s and 1990s. If I remember correctly from my fact, I can't remember.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to work together here, Josh, at all. Because as they see, Daniel Parodi decides to just go straight past JST and Riccardo Benzoni. Is Riccardo Benzoni going to slide one back up the inside? Race gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and he's going to retire from the race. He must have got damage. That's a big shame from Race there. Must have picked up a little bit of damage, or didn't think he could catch the grid. But, Josh, lap 22, out of 33.
Floodgates
10 laps to go once they cross the line.
But like,
2.8 seconds between Zelenkovic and JST.
yeah, Zelenkovic, Viola got past 6 and Lundhart. Floodgates are open. Those soft compound tyres are going to be absolutely loving that bit of fresh air they've got to kind of cool themselves down. No dirty air to try and follow and waft around in. They're going to be catching at an alarming rate of knots to the back of JST, to the back of Benzoni, to the back of Parodi. It's how quickly they're able to make the move because, of course, Maury Walker once said, it's not about catching up to the driver, it's about overtaking them, and we know that can certainly be a challenge around Portimao if you're not, dialed up to get that perfect run heading into turn 1. And even then, if the driver decides to maybe try a defensive line, push you off onto marbles, you could be risking it heading into turn 3 for that hard braking zone and getting the car rotated in properly and efficiently. But Timo Zelenkovic, 1.6 seconds from that last sentence I said. It's coming down so quickly.
And both McLarens going for the move on Daniel Peroni into turn 1. A lovely, lovely double move there from the McLarens, working together to get in front of Peroni because they can see the threat of Zelenkovic in the distance, and also the Sauber of Simeone Viola. Is that right? Violo.
Yeah.
Low. As Sixten Linhart is defending from Nando Morena, as also up the inside goes Rosenberg. These two have come to blows quite a lot this afternoon, as Rosenberg up into 7th place ahead of Sixten Linhart. I can see Josh on my camera. He is face palming right now.
I'm recoiling in that. That was absolutely horrible. But I don't even know.
Zelenkovic has got DRS.
Wow.
Zelenkovic has DRS.
Let's all say, all roads don't lead to Mandalay, but certainly one of them is going to lead to the top step of a podium. And it'll be Timo Zelenkovic looking to try and capitalise on this opportunity with the calculated strategy from the mediums to the softs, making it work, getting back up into P4, closing up rapidly at Daniel Peroni. Is it going to be quick enough to get this move sorted just now, or is he going to end up having to wait another couple of extra laps here? Heading on to lap 24 here. It's certainly looking like it's going to get a little hot under the collar for a couple of these drivers up front.
Catching is one thing, passing is another, as you said, Josh, earlier. Zelenkovic has done all the hard work. He's just now got to get past these drivers. And, 4-lap softs versus 10-lap-old mediums, surely no contest, especially when Daniel Peroni's battery is flashing like that. Oh, what is that from Zelenkovic? He was never making that. He's gone for 4 cars in one corner, and he just didn't press the brakes. And now it's down to Simeone Viola, who's going to try and make the move around the outside of Riccardo Benzoni. And he's pulled his way all the way into second. And Zelenkovic now trying to move his way up. And somehow Daniel Peroni is the one leading the way. Josh, what happened there?
Well, it's certainly a form of doomsday, I would say. Timo Zelenkovic inevitably going for an overtake there. Maybe got a little bit too confident on the brakes. Didn't necessarily work into fruition. Maybe not the best opportunity to try and get that move sorted on 3 cars at once, but he certainly managed to knock off both McLarens. Daniel Peroni now is put in a very awkward spot above her. He doesn't want to pick up, that dead weight of not having the DRS because he needs it to be able to keep in touch with these guys. And you can see there, opening the DRS, making that move. Once again, just dropping behind at that detection point, making an absolute brilliant, smart, opportunistic move. I guess you could say he's been patiently waiting for his opportunity. And certainly showing he has what it takes when it comes to a little bit of DRS chicken to be able to make it work.
JST Josh had front wing damage. Head to box, got front wing damage, and now it's down. Can Zelenkovic do it again on this time? Will he actually make the move stick? Unlike his last step, no, he can't do it again. And he goes a little bit squirrely on the exit. Squirrely is an F1 term. I will not hear anyone else say otherwise. As we see Zelenkovic now try and push on. Surely you've got to think the stewards will be taking a look at that incident a bit later on. But right now in his head, he's got one thing in his mind. He's got to try and at least take the lead of this Grand Prix. And then, if he does think he's getting a penalty, he's got to try and push his way forward and pull out a bit of a gap.
I mean, where's Hugh Jackman when you need it to sing the greatest show? Because this has certainly been one of the greatest shows we've seen here in F3 PSGL for a long time, but it's certainly not over yet. 8 laps remaining. We've got these drivers squabbling awkwardly, waiting for an opportunity, but you see Peroni not having that luxury to back off and, try and get a little bit of DRS chicken going. He's going to be a sitting duck on the straight for both Zelenkovic and Violo here. Violo taking it right behind the slipstream. You see the overspeed. Picks up a slipstream, gets one, and he's just having to sit and wait behind Zelenkovic here, having to break off the racing line. But of course, we know Violo is going to be priming himself to try and get this move sorted. Heading down into Torre Vif, waiting for that opportunity. It's surely coming for this Sauber driver. You can feel it deep in your bones. I'm really trying to go for as many song references as possible.
He's going to go down the inside, but Peroni thinks about it behind him. And he was going for a little bit of a cheeky move there down the inside. Didn't make it stick though. But now both soft runners are leading the way, both on 6-lap-old softs to be exact. And it is a Alpine versus a Sauber. The Williams and the McLaren chasing in behind. Rosenberg is there as well, who's had a great Grand Prix in that Red Bull. Matthew Adler having an improvement here. He's up into 8th place now, just ahead of Thomas Laminen. And Dimas still involved in this fight as well, Josh. And for for the McLarens, is it another race that got away from them? At the moment, Riccardo Benzoni is going to be dropping another place coming down the main straight.
It certainly does look that way, doesn't it? It's another one of those what-if scenarios for the McLaren outfit. What if they maybe ran a different strategy? What if they took opportunities slightly differently? But you can't always dwell on the past. You've got to take it in stride, keep moving forward and keep improving week in, week out. An example of that is Simeon Violo. He certainly took a big stride forward here at Portimao. It's fantastic to see him up there fighting for the lead and regaining the lead on Timo Zelenkovic. When's the next overtaking opportunity going to be for Zelenkovic? Is he going to look for it at turn 5? We know he likes to go late on the brakes. We know he doesn't mind running it a little deep into the corner, maybe a little too deep at times. So he might just have to wait and reserve himself back for that turn 1 DRS opportunity he's going to be able to pick up. Similar to what Alexander Rosenberg's going to have to wait again. Wasn't able to get the move sorted on Riccardo Benzoni because Benzoni had the DRS from Parodi in front of him.
Yep, he needs to try and make this move now because these soft tyres aren't going to last forever. The race is coming to its conclusion, but the softs will start burning out if he's not careful. He's going to go up for the inside here. No, he's a bit too far back. We've seen moves there this afternoon. He hasn't gone for it just yet. Rosenberg very desperate to push his way past Riccardo Benzoni. But he's actually lost a little bit of time there to Mr. Dimas as well, who's also looking to get himself a few places. And Josh, as we suspected, this was always going to be the issue for the guys on the soft tyre. They can catch easily, of course they can, but passing on this track is not easy, even with the extra grip, because everyone else has got DRS. But here comes Riccardo Benzoni. He's going to switch to the right-hand side. Going to aim for turn 1. Are they going to go wheel-to-wheel into turn 1? Is they going to go wheel-to-wheel? It's not English. As Riccardo Benzoni takes 3rd place ahead of Daniel Brody, and Zelenkovic ahead of Simeon in 2nd place.
Yeah, we've still got a cracking battle there. Very, very close contact between Dimas and Nando Moreira, but they're going to still be squabbling all the way down into turn 5. Dimas taking that defensive line towards the inside, but it's not going to be defensive enough, I don't think. He's going to end up having to run Nando Moreira out of track. But of course, that gives Matthew Adler an opportunity here to try and get some moves sorted. As we're starting to see the penalties acclimating up for every single one of these drivers, whether it's speeding up a pit lane, track limits, whatever. We've had about 6 in the last 6 seconds.
Yeah, it's unlucky for Nando there. He's been pushed wide, not by his own choice, and he's been given a 3-second time penalty. I imagine stewards will have a look at that and consider if he does not get another warning, they might allow him to have that removed because he was pushed wide because of that issue. But big defending here from Matthew Adler, properly stonewall defending in that Mercedes-Benz.
Harry Maguire-esque.
Harry Maguire-esque, exactly. A Rolls Royce of a defender, you might say. As we're going to race down towards turn 1. We are running out of laps here, Josh, as we are still in basically what is a 2-horse Grand Prix. Riccardo Benzoni pulls to the right-hand side to defend Daniel Parodi. He's probably going to go around the outside of turn 1. Oh, I've only seen a few drivers do it, and most of them start with Lance and end with Stroll, and a lot of them end in the wall. As we're still racing here on lap 29, as Riccardo Benzoni is in 3rd, Daniel Parodi still in 4th. Is he going to be under pressure from Rosenberg or Dimas? Rosenberg's got to go for it, and he's going to go for it. Down the inside goes Rosenberg. He's going to push Parodi a little bit wide. More wheel banging between the Red Bull and the Williams, but Parodi's still there on the inside. And he's just got a better exit out of the corner and still somehow holds on to that P4.
Brilliant stuff. Low Rubbers racing, all fair and square. No wheel locking to try and hold on to the position. Fantastic stuff from Parodi, holding on to P4 for now. But you've got to think Legion Rosenberg surely not going to be happy about that. He's going to want to try and make that move as soon as possible. The red light flashing on the back of his car under a lot of pressure. But you know what they say, Alex? Diamonds are made under pressure. Legion Rosenberg proven time and time again he is a gem in this community. He is a star-studded world-class driver. He's looking to show that here once again in this Red Bull. Looking to try and close up here for this P4. Maybe even try and maybe bring a challenge to Riccardo Benzoni for a podium here as well. Despite having a lack of ERS, he's not the only driver. Parodi in front of him. He's got Dimas behind him, all of which struggling for a bit of battery, with Modesto Maida there really going on the offensive, trying to get that move sorted. A very aggressive move. Dimas trying to hold it around the outside there, ran it a little bit wide. Thankfully didn't end in the Stroll wall, but he might have just lost that position there by going a little bit too defensive.
Yeah, where did Modesto Maida come from? He was miles back on that main straight. We're now down the secondary main straight. Are we going to see him send one back up the inside? No, because Modesto Maida's got a great exit. And from the back of the grid, Josh, he's currently up in 6th place. He's not out of contention for a podium finish here.
No, he's not. He certainly used that super suck down the main straight to all of his advantages. Like having a Dyson vacuum pulling you along. It's fantastic stuff for Modesto Maida. Certainly showing the reason why he should be up here more and more often, week in, week out. Gets himself a solid result in the races. Hopefully next week he'll be able to get a solid result in the qualifying so he can give himself a helping hand in the race trim. Certainly something I'd love to see is him up here battling with the rest of them, because so far we currently have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cars all within DRS of one another, really trying to battle it out. Don't forget, anything can happen. One of these drivers has some sort of incident, a little accident. You could be looking at a lot of these drivers gaining 2, 3, 4 positions out of it.
Tony O'Shea picks up a 3-second time penalty, not going to matter too much. He's bound in 13th place as it stands. But yeah, as you mentioned, Josh, any little mistake from these drivers, we're seeing them start to make mistakes because these tyres, Josh, are all on their limits. The soft tyres getting onto their limits. Thomas Laminen had a little spin there. The mediums are definitely on their limits. 17 for Daniel Parodi, 16 for Riccardo Benzoni. They're going to be really struggling. Modesto Maida looks to go down the inside. Rosenberg has gone late. He's actually tapped the McLaren and he's ghosted, which has allowed Modesto Maida to squeeze through. And he's absolutely squeezed himself through that gap, literally through another car, because Rosenberg went too late, tapped Riccardo Benzoni, ghosted, and allowed Modesto Maida into 5th place. He's now really in a contention for a podium finish.
Yeah, Casper friendly ghost, more like Casper the unfriendly ghost, forcing Leslie Rosenberg to lose a position there. Very unfortunate for him, but he's got to try and keep his head straight. He's got to understand that wasn't necessarily down to his own fault. That was just the game having one of its features, and Modesto Maida benefiting from that, getting himself up into P5, and you would consider at this point 10-lap old soft tyres. He's got an extra lap on a couple of the other drivers around him. And the drivers in front of him on the mediums. He could certainly find himself fighting for P3 here. And I would say it might be more than likely that he might end on the podium.
And Josh, we are on the penultimate lap of this Grand Prix. Oh, Riccardo Benzoni out of nowhere looking to go around the outside of Simeone. And I don't think he was expecting it. He's been saving ERS, Simeone, and I think he really didn't expect that attack from the McLaren driver. But you never count out these drivers from race victories. It's all kicked off. Guys, you've got another lap to go. Don't call it yet. You've got one more lap. But here comes Modesto Maida, and Rosenberg tried to do that move 16 times over the last few laps, and it's now led to Modesto Maida trying to do it. A little bit of rub in his racing. Can he switch to the inside? No, he can't. Oh, Josh, somebody's tell these drivers they've got another lap to go because they all decided to kick it off on that last lap. Was that Benzoni's last gasp there to try and launch it around the outside?
Oh, the phone, Modesto Maida to the inside. What an absolute send. Little rub in his racing, pushes Parodi off the circuit. Parodi's not going to be happy with that one because he might be losing multiple positions. They're still battling. Modesto Maida being forced to the outside. Parodi sends it back up the inside. A little switch back. And then a little bit of drag braking there for Parodi, showing he's very much not happy with Modesto Maida, but that'll lose him to lose momentum heading back onto this main straight. DRS Chicken should be in full effect, but unfortunately, there's too many cars, too many variants for DRS Chicken. They end up backing up. All of a sudden, Legend Rosenberg is getting in the picture, and we could be heading for a free-wide moment down into turn 1, battling out for B4 here. It's so close, but that's the main of pushing Parodi all the way around the outside, but it's not going to be quite enough. Getting squeezed inside of turn 3 there, and Parodi's going to hold on to that position for now, but it's only going to be for now because they've still got a fair couple of overtaking opportunities left on this circuit. Maida to the inside again here. Down the inside of turn 5, as nice as you would like it, gets that move sorted. Brilliant stuff there. Firm rubbing is racing in my eyes. Brilliant stuff there from Maida. Just trying to steal that position, but it's not all over yet. They're still going for it, Alex. It's a lap. If you thought it was started last lap, it's started now, mate.
Yeah, Dale probably trying to send it back up the inside of Modesto Maida and absolutely just cut his teammate completely off, pulling right to the right-hand side. What we weren't paying attention to while this battle for P4 was going on, as Simeone Bion has taken back the lead of the Grand Prix here at Portugal. And Zelenkovic, I think, is just going to lose out on this last lap. This has been a brilliant Portuguese Grand Prix, and we're going to see it won by a Sauber as we come round the final corner. Simeone Viola will win the Portuguese Grand Prix here in F3, followed by Zelenkovic, Riccardo Benzoni, then Modesto Maida, Parodi, Dimas, Rosenberg, Adler, Bogdan, and Nada Moreno rounds out your top 10. Wow, what a final lap that was.
Absolutely. Call it however you want. Simeone Viola putting on an absolutely stellar performance to take the win here for round 7. nothing but praises for the Sauber driver. Fantastic job. So many great battles happening throughout that entire race. It was brilliant.
Whew. You lie down after that.
Yeah, need more than a lie down.
That was amazing.
Strong
That was a
coverage
great
to
race.
weight you back up. That's fantastic stuff from all the drivers involved. Again, unfortunate for those of which haven't been able to pick up any points here, because end of the day, for races like that, every driver deserved points. That was something else.
Certainly was. And we'll go through the running order in a few minutes. We're just waiting for the last person to cross the line. But yeah, what a race. What a race. Riccardo Benzoni getting third place, deservedly, on those medium tyres. Modesto Mena picking up driver of the day.
Agreed.
Back of the grid to fourth. Can't disagree with that one. Very aggressive overtakes, but brilliant overtakes in my opinion. And there is, I will go through your grid now once the game has decided to load.
It's feature. There we
Feature.
go. Podium celebration. Italian, standing tall.
Oh,
The Swiss outfit, Italian driver. How much more at home could you be if you weren't a member of the Tifosi? Sauber driver lifting the trophy. Fantastic work there from Simeon Biolo.
fantastic work indeed. And your final finishing order for everyone here. So Simeone rounds out your race with a victory here for Sauber, from fourth on the grid to first. Zelenkovic from fifth to second, and Riccardo Benzoni from first to third. Then we've got Modesto Mena, Parodi, Dimas, Rosenberg, Adler, Bogdan, Nanda, Moreno rounds out your top 10. And then we've got Javier Domin, Tony Richet, Thomas Lamonen, your final of the finishers, and your DNFs for JST 16.5 race. Andreas Franco, Valentino Labella, Tom Roberts, and Ivan Santa Maria.
I mean, you can't make that race up. Again,
No.
another fantastic race. I'm not sure why the camera was zoomed in when my head was like all the way down there, but fantastic stuff from all the drivers. Once again, proving F3 is the place to be on a Thursday at 7 PM. And again, none of this would be available without PSGL and of course our gracious sponsors here at GT Omega and of course Sim Racing Centre. Fantastic, lovely stuff. Will advise you, please go check out the new releases that they've done. Both of them have got new secret things in the works, so keep a special eye out for them. Don't forget to subscribe to the emails as well. I know it can be a pain in the arse to get emails, but the marketing ones quite often have a cheeky little discount code in them as well. So, Alex, how's that going to wind up for the calendar, mate? How are they going to be able to take that over to Azerbaijan?
Azerbaijan. Now Baku. Completely different circuit.
Yes.
Not only is it in a completely different part of the world, it's in a very pretty part of the world, I must say. Azerbaijan is a very pretty country.
Bros, yeah.
Very, very interesting country as well. But street circuit, a lot of DNFs happen there. Can't go to wheel every lap like we saw here in Portugal. I'm sure they'll try, but we have Azerbaijan up next, and then of course we go to the Netherlands, Brazil, Texas.
Absolutely.
4 rounds left for season 36 for F3. Anyone can still win it, so tune in next Thursday. Got it right this time.
You did.
At 7 PM for F3. Myself and Josh will be here. Actually, I don't think you will be here, will you?
No, I might not be. Again, that'll be discussed in future. You'll be aware.
Yeah, keep an eye out on things. But where can they keep an eye out, Josh? Tell them where they can join us.
Over on YouTube, as you might be watching. I hope you're watching on YouTube. If not, how have you found this stream? That's slightly concerning. Please contact us. Instagram, Discord, Twitter, and TikTok. We've got a whole new social team pumping out content for you each and every single day. Keep an eye out for it because a lot of them are putting a lot of time and effort into the posts, making sure they can just get those crisp memes sorted for each and every one of you. Now, there are still a few of you in chat. I will advise you to go jump over, check out the F4 stream, keep a close eye on that, check out the F2 stream, maybe give a couple of tips and advice of what you saw here today, and enjoy the races over there. But so far, it's been absolutely stellar. Thank you for joining me again for round 7, Alex. It's been a pleasure. Let's keep it onwards and upwards to the streets of Baku. But until then, goodbye for now.
He's got the inside, Orkney is through on the left-hand side. Hugs the apex, gets on the power nicely, and that is job done. Jarno Orkney now to the last